Hello, my name is Margery Cuyler, and I'm the publisher of Marshall Cavendish Children's Books, located in Tarrytown, New York. Today, I'm speaking with Bill Thomson, the illustrator of such children's picture books as Karate Hour, Building with Dad, and Baseball Hour. Most recently, he completed the illustrations and concept for his own book, Chalk. The illustration process is very intricate, and I thought that it would be interesting to go behind the scenes with Bill to give you a taste of what goes into the 100 hours per illustration for each title he illustrates for Marshall Cavendish. Welcome, Bill.
Thanks, Margery. Glad to be here.
So, where does that initial spark of a book concept come from?
Well, Margery, since illustration is a form of visual communication, every illustration that I create starts with an idea. I explore different idea possibilities by doing a series of rough thumbnail sketches, usually dozens for each illustration. These sketches clarify the content of my paintings and begin to establish general compositions. For this particular illustration, my idea is to show two children in a tube slide with a dinosaur peeking in at them.
And from these thumbnail sketches, where do you go?
Once I settle on an idea, the next step is to get visual information to help me bring this idea to life. The books that we are creating are intended to be very realistic so children feel like they experience the stories that we are telling. Because I work so realistically, every part of my painting must look equally convincing. To assist me, I take reference photographs to look at while I'm painting. I take hundreds of reference photographs for each illustration and between 5,000 and 10,000 photographs per book.
Wow, that's a lot of photographs. How do these photographs help you?
Well, Margery, I don't rely on any single photograph, but I look at the best parts from numerous photos and I use these for reference only. Here you see photographs of a boy and a girl in a slide interior that was some of my main reference sources for this illustration. Because there are no dinosaurs to photograph, I made one out of clay and photographed that. Photos of lizards and alligators also help me create realistic details and textures for the dinosaur.
After the thumbnails and photographs, what comes next?
Well, Margery, looking at the best parts of several photographs, I make a detailed pencil drawing on watercolor board, working out everything in the composition. I try to make my drawings very dynamic, and I use a variety of perspectives so that the readers will feel like they are part of the scene. I also have to carefully plan out the placement of all of the elements and allow room for the book's fold and typography, if there is any.
So now you must be ready to start painting. What kind of paint process do you use?
Well, I paint over the entire drawing with a mixture of gesso and yellow ochre acrylic paint. This eliminates all the white areas and gives my painting a warm base color. Then I paint over the entire image again with a thin wash of purple oil paint. After the oil paint dries, I erase all of the light areas with a kneaded eraser. This creates a nice underlying texture. It also separates everything. Things that are in sunlight are a warm color, and things that are in shadow are a cool color.
Okay, so let's talk about your detail. How do you get so much detail into each illustration?
Well, Margery, that's a very time-consuming process. I start by doing a very detailed painting using acrylic paint and a group of very fine brushes. This is the most important and time-consuming part of my process. In this particular illustration, I also used an airbrush on the blue sky and the tube interior. I really don't like airbrushes and use them only to apply large flat areas of color. As the final step, I go over nearly everything again using colored pencils. This allows me to add further details and all the finishing touches to my illustrations. This stage is also quite time-consuming, but I enjoy it the most. Each illustration takes anywhere from 60 to 120 hours to complete, depending on its complexity.
60 to 120 hours. Wow, that is impressive. That is a lot of time.
Well, it is a lot of time, Margery, but I consider to illustrate books for children to be both an honor and a privilege, so I think all those hours is time well spent.
Bill, I wanted to thank you for taking the time to speak with us about the amazing process you undergo when you're illustrating one of our books.
Well, thanks, Margery. It's been my pleasure to share some of my illustration secrets with you.
I've just been speaking with Bill Thomson, the creator of Chalk, available from Marshall Cavendish Children's Books wherever books are sold. Thanks for listening and happy reading.